Included in the City of Leduc's downtown master plan is the recognition of 14 historically significant buildings. Councillor Bev Beckett is part of Leduc's Heritage Inventory project.
The pioneers, that's where it came from. And so as business owners and people who are in this community today, we still celebrate that.
It includes this present-day antiques shop on Main Street, 50th Avenue, built when Leduc was a tiny agricultural rail stop. Some wallboards and ceilings are original.
Originally, when it was first built, it was a hardware store, and it was owned by the Gates family and several generations of Gates families until in 1963 it was purchased by David and Edna McHarg, and then it became part drugstore and part hardware.
Also in the Heritage Inventory is Dr. Wood's House Museum.
It's stucco, and we have the stone on the fireplace, and there's pillars outside, and he brought that the stones from his homestead. He lived on Strawberry Creek out here close around Kalmar area, and he brought them by horse and wagon.
That building was constructed in 1927 by Dr. Woods, and it was originally twofold. It was his medical clinic as well as it was their living accommodation.
If I was in need of a doctor and I came here, I would enter through this side door and then into here, right, Barb?
Because people didn't make appointments back then, he could get up at night and go and see a patient, and he didn't disturb the rest of the house. And it had the piano and the radio because people had to entertain themselves. There was no TV, no computers.
Yeah.
This is the dining room, and it is the largest room in the home. And this is where they ate most of their meals. And there's a well down in the basement. And the shelf moved up and down, and that's where they kept their dairy products and their eggs. This would be fur mostly, which you wouldn't get anymore. But you'd have the plain design as opposed to Victorian homes.
Among recognized historic structures in Leduc is the remaining grain elevator.
The significance of the grain elevator is that being in an agrarian community, people grew their grain and they needed a place to market that grain. And so we at one time had 7 elevators in Leduc.
Built in 1987, is that it?
Yeah.
Yes, but it's still a historic
It's a
resource.
historic resource,
Why?
yeah, because it's the last wooden grain elevator built in Alberta. It's an historic site, and we bring school kids through and tourists through, and
As you say, it's still all functional too if someone chose to.
everything works.
Like all 14 designated historic structures there, the grain elevator has its own personal stories to tell. Check them out sometime. For Go Edmonton, I'm Tim Dancy.